Hey everybody! So tonight we are going to have a little fun and make back to school more fun with some crafts. So I posted a link to my website that's got a whole bunch of different fun back to school crafts. But tonight we're going to focus on a really easy cross stitch embroidery craft, and we're making this really cute hoop that looks like notebook paper. So this is kind of a finished one, but we'll go through all the steps, and it's just a simple back stitch that we'll do tonight for the cross stitch embroidery. So let's start with what supplies you need. So you need a hoop, and you need embroidery thread. So I've got a blue and a red for my lined notebook paper, the blue lines, the red. So those two colors. And you'll need some cross stitch fabric, and a pair of scissors. And that's basically it. So you'll start by cutting out a square of your cross stitch fabric, and you'll just want it whatever, a little bit bigger than your embroidery hoop, right? So I would cut kind of right here. I already have a piece cut and started, and it's in, I have this little like springy hoop that I use for working on projects. And as you can see, I've already started because I want to kind of do the whole craft, but obviously you don't need to see me make every single line. That would be a little boring to watch. So I pre-stitched a few of them. All right. If you have never done cross stitch or embroidery before, this is a super simple craft to start with. So we're going to do this ultra basic. I am not, I love to knit and crochet, but I am not an expert at embroidery or cross stitch, but it is something that I enjoy. And I love the simpler crafts like this one. Okay, so let's start with our embroidery thread, right? We're starting with the blue. All right, if you've never used embroidery thread before, comes in like a little thing like this, and there are multiple threads in here. This has got like 6 different ones. So you don't usually stitch with all of them. If you hear talking in the background, my 10-year-old is coming to visit me. So I am using 2 threads at a time for this project. So you would kind of untwist these. You would cut a length of the, here, like this. So you would cut a length, and then you would pull 2 threads off. And then you would have something like this. So this is just 2 threads thickness. Does that make sense? If you have questions, let me know. All right, then you're going to put it through the needle, and then you'll start stitching. Now, some of this is just arbitrary based on personal preference, okay? So you can see the weave of this one, and these have numbers depending on how tight or thick kind of the weave is, how far apart these different holes are. So this is a little bit looser than like this one is. I liked this one because it was a little bit more yellow, which seemed more paper-ish to me. I don't know. Personal preference, right? For mine, I am spacing kind of 4 rows in between where I have the blue lines. But that's just an arbitrary number that I picked based on how it looked, how far apart they were. You can choose to do however you like. Now, because I want it to look like notebook paper, the first thing I did was leave some space at the top, and then I'm just doing all the blue lines first. So leave a gap, kind of pick where you want it to start, right? And then I'm working from side to side. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to start right here. My hands are in the way. I'll start way over here on this side, okay? But I'm coming up through the bottom. And for cross stitch embroidery, this is a very blunt needle. I don't know if you can really see that, but because I don't have to really go through fabric, there's holes. They have these nice cross stitching needles that are blunt, so you don't injure yourself. I appreciate that. Okay, another sort of arbitrary number is that I'm counting 3 spots over for how wide I'm making each of those stitches. Again, I just kind of played around with it. That was the look that I liked the best. Okay, so go in. And then I'm just doing a back stitch. So I'll come up from the bottom. If I could tilt this the right way so you could see it. All right, 1, 2, 3. I come up, and then I go back down. So why is it a back stitch? Because I come up in front and I make the stitch backwards. That makes sense, right? And I do that all the way across. So I'm gonna stitch for a minute, and y'all are gonna let me know if you have questions. Or whatever. Okay, so we've made it to the end of that row. And just gotta readjust my thread a little bit. So if you missed it, I'm doing my rows with 4 kind of rows in between each of the blue. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. But it was just a number I picked based on, that's how I liked how the spacing looked. And now I'm just working edge to edge, and I'm making each of these stitches 3 stitches across. So as you see, I worked this one going this way, and now I come down and I work back. And that first stitch goes the direction you're going, but after that, all the other stitches are the back stitch. 1, 2, 3. That's where I'm coming up. And then I'm just doing a back stitch across. Now every once in a while I've got this where I can't quite get over for a third. I can't quite get over 3 stitches, but I don't want to just end it right there. So I just do one that's a little bit shorter. And that's perfectly fine with me. Okay, I filled all up my blue. And I would, you know, come back through, and this needs to be knotted off back here. And then gonna run up for a few of these. And cut my thread. All right. Now I'm going to switch to my red, which I've already cut a length. I have cut a length. I just realized it is 3 strands instead of just the 2 that I want. So I just pull that apart. Yep, there we go, 2 strands. And put it through my needle. Which hopefully will only take me a second. Oh, voila. Okay. Thread my needle. And then I'm just gonna kind of eyeball where I want this to go, right? So, that looks good, right? Right there. It doesn't have to be, there's no wrong answer. It's not exact. You can't mess it up. That's what I like to hear when I'm crafting. You can't mess it up. And then I'm gonna do that same back stitch. Going for my red, I decided on my other ones to make the stitch a little shorter. So where this stitch is 3 spaces, I just did 2. I don't even know if you can tell, but I wanted to differentiate it a little bit. So that's what I did. All right, here we go. Here we go. That's the last one. And ta-da. Notebook paper. How cute is that? All right. So, why do we need motivational quotes? Let me move some of this out of the way. So, I showed you this one, our finished one. So, this kind of springy one is great, especially if I'm working on something bigger, because then I can move it around. But then I would iron that and put it in my embroidery hoop, like so. And tighten everything down and trim it up, and how cute is that? And then we have this. Okay. Now, one final thing you can do. You could leave it just like this. I think that is really cute, just like that. But if you want to, you can add a quote to it, just like that. Okay, whoa, sorry. Work hard and be nice. And this is backstitched letters. And because I picked the distance between the rows that I did, obviously then I was limited on how big the letters could be. So if you want to make the words bigger, if your fabric is, if the holes are closer together, these letters can be different, right? I had to work with letters that could only be 4 stitches high. Hey Lauren, hey Kathy. So, can be a cute little phrase. So, let's play with this for just a minute. And I sort of failed to make sure I had my alphabet with me while I did this. So I'm just going to do this real quick, but I'm still back stitching to make these letters, and I'll share, if you go to the link on my website when we're done, I will share an easy alphabet that you can use to finish off your project. So, here's the letter Y. If I wanted to do that, yes, you can, right? So, more just back stitching, but you can write out a little message to finish off your notebook paper. Thank you, Maxine. So, visit the website. I will have some step-by-step pictures for you and that alphabet. And let me know if you have any questions. And as always, you can email me anytime or find me on social media at Julie Measure. And thanks for crafting with me tonight. And go make back to school more fun with crafts and recipes. Thanks, y'all. Bye.